They're right. Let's do this agenda.
Oh.
Nothing wrong with being part of that. Me and Jessica,
We can share.
Jessica decided to be twins ways.
We can share.
Yes.
With
No way. Yeah. I'm all prepared
Do
for
you have,
safety.
do you have a kilt that's in high vis?
No, I haven't.
A safety
I have
kill.
a desert camouflage kill. I haven't got a safety kill yet. I'm looking for one. It might be a little bright though. That might draw too much attention.
Yeah, well, I've never been a problem with that.
As much of a
Too much
camouflage.
attention. No.
We're ready.
All right, ready. Then let's call this meeting to order, the Solid Waste District, August 16th, 2023 at, where's the time on that? At 4:05. I'll be chairing this evening until Caleb shows up. If he shows up, I know he's attending another meeting. First of all, we have citizens to be heard. Is anyone in the waiting room to be heard?
Yes.
Sarah,
Here he comes. There he is.
all right, Caleb. Come on, and we just barely started, and Sarah's in the waiting room. We're gonna have Sarah talk to us, and then you'll take over as chair, okay? Thank you for starting. Yeah. You bet. Have we got you in yet, Sarah?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we can't see you, but we can definitely hear you.
Oh, wait, let me put my video on.
There you are.
Hi, everybody. How
Hello.
are you?
Good afternoon.
Hi. Hi, Mary.
Hello.
Did you
Sarah.
already call citizens to be heard?
We just called it.
Yes, we just
Okay,
called.
well, I've been sitting here waiting and it just came on. Just now.
We just got started.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, I'm gonna make a comment. And I just want to start by saying, you know, I've been deeply involved with recycling here since 2000, and we, Mob Solutions and others, have had to step in to keep the center afloat more than one time. The well-being of the CRC is crucial to a healthy community. And if people could work in concert with the landfills, transfer station, and recycle center, that would be transformational to the community, the environment, and the globe. However, I'm more concerned at this point in time than I've ever been about the welfare of CSWA. So I looked at the expenditure reports in this month's board packet that showed June and July. And I saw there were no payments to the PTIF, which prompted me to go back and look at past months. And I noticed under PTIF transfer items, it showed $0 for the past several months. So to my understanding, and I could be wrong, there were supposed to be monthly deposits to the PTIF to support payback of the bond related to the acquisition of monument waste. So is the trust fund being depleted? Like, what is happening? So I'm deeply concerned. Is the organization solvent? And what is the board's plan for fiduciary oversight? So I also noticed and wondered why there hasn't been a balance sheet or quarterly financial showing the profit and loss recently. And I don't know if your accountant's there now, but I've seen him there at almost every meeting for a year. But he hasn't been afforded the opportunity to present the district with financial reports. I'm just curious why that is. Is this organization at the point of collapse? And what would that mean to the community? Will Republic come in and take over? Can the CRC be run in a public-private partnership or severed? I'm just super concerned, and I think the community should be aware of this and also be concerned, because there's a golden opportunity and things can be turned around if people collaborate. So, like I've asked countless times, why isn't e-waste banned from the landfill? They're talking about mining for lithium here, and people are throwing lithium away with every battery and cell phone that they throw out. Why are we contributing to the need to mine for things? And I have to ask once again, I'm sure you're really sick of it, but why are there single stream bins in a source of pride, source separated center that guaranteed everything was recycled domestically? It's confusing. It's not keeping other things clean. I have pictures of all the other containers. I've been cleaning those containers out for 23 years, so I know what it's like. I beg you to consider working together to try to solve. No problem is not solvable. But sometimes the wrong decision can have catastrophic impacts on the whole community, and I'm very concerned. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sarah. No one else in the waiting room, I presume?
No.
All right, and then we can move on to review and approval of expenditures for the month of June 2023.
Okay, so just to highlight some of the items, payroll expenses for June were $327,253.93. This includes benefits and several employee loans that were done during the month of June. Repairs, service, and maintenance, total payments for the month of June were $15,718.27. That's up $5,000 over May. And payment to the AMCS for project management was $3,750. It's a little bit lower than the month previous, but it's actually going to go up again, I think, this month and in September because we start training, which I'll be talking a little bit more about later. $20,824.69 to Viola for disposal of HHWE waste and universal waste. $5,500 to EFG Consulting for preliminary rate analysis and RFP preparation for the consultant. Then we had a our field audit. The initial invoice for that was $9,100. Fuel total for June was $66,036.43, more than triple than what was spent the month before. Also to note is that June was a particularly long month with 3 pay periods, which also meant 3 check signings, which included the big jump in all the expenditures and the payroll. So because we had 3 of them instead of just 2.
Why was the fuel such a big jump?
Any idea why the fuel went up so high?
I think as part of that is because having 3 check runs instead of just the normal 2. So. Processing.
Well, yeah, it's triple what the previous month is. I mean,
I think-
it's only, 50% more pay periods.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
But usually June is a very busy month, isn't it? As far as construction, as far as visitors in touch, really.
It's very-
Slow.
The
The
heat
heat.
has slowed us down, so that's why I'm I'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
But
that's,
June wasn't hot.
Oh, part of it was there were some missed invoices too that we didn't get. So we had to make up for some invoices that,
From the months before.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, and actually that June wasn't horrible.
June was a good gardening month. If it's
But I
not
think we
hot,
did
but-
start to taper off a little bit in June.
Yeah.
We'll look into that fuel.
what are these employee loans? That's not something I've seen on here before.
Well, it's actually something that was started, Evan started it not long after we acquired Monument Waste to help some of the employees do things like if they needed to, like, it was before we started this project with the school, if they wanted to get their CDL, maybe help them get their CDL, or for instance, one of the employees locked or broke his only key to his vehicle and it cost a lot of money that he just didn't have to replace that key to help people out to get them from paycheck to paycheck. Different little things like that.
Yeah.
And there's a
they're not-
maximum of
Yeah,
$2,000.
they weren't very big, but I just have not seen anything like that before. So I'll find out about that. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures of the month of June 2023 in the amount of $474,383.25.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Diane. Your second. Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the expenditures passes. I think we need to go to the second one. Next, we have review and approval of expenditures for the month of July.
Okay, so then you can see in more of a normal payroll total expenses in July were $207,883.30, which includes benefits. We paid $35,757.40 to Cascade Engineering for new and extra poly cards to have on hand. We were having issues with some of the other ones that were breaking consistently, and we just needed to have stock on hand to help replace those. Kurt's Custom Welding also made us some new 6-yard dumpsters. We traded him some of the work for our load all forklift, and then the remaining balance to him was $6,000 for that. Repair, service, and maintenance total payments for the month of June was $25,723.90, up $10,000 over last month. 25,507 to Five Stars Industries for a down payment on new containers. And then another bill for the field audit from the auditors was $2,975. Legal advice in July was $3,427. And then the fuel total for June was $22,352.37, which is about average for a month.
Mhm.
We also funded our landfill closure bonds for a total of $17,988.73. Of that, $8,578.83 went to the Klondike Bond Fund, and $9,409.90 to the Moab Bond Fund, and that puts us back up to where we need to be to make sure that we have those monies in there. Along with that, I did send the letters to both the city and the county so that they would know what monies they needed to add additionally to their funds for those closures.
So I thought, and perhaps wrongly, that the closure funds were fully funded.
They are, but sometimes because the interest rates fluctuate, and also when we do our evaluations, there's going to be a change. And so in the past years, since I've been here, we haven't had to fund them, but this year, because of different fluctuations and evaluations, there was a need to fund it, and the interest rates have gone down, so we didn't have as much interest going into those accounts to help compensate for that.
And the DEQ are the ones that kind of set those fluctuations. So it's just whatever their inflation factor that they designate.
Okay.
On the repairs, just basic repairs on equipment, is that what's happening? What's the, that's kind of a high number for a month, but.
Well, we did have a couple of.
Well, and I think a lot of it has been, some of it's been the containers and stuff. So
Okay.
we've been trying to tackle this issue. We've got containers that haven't seen this yard for 20 years. I mean, we've kind of not looked at it, but I mean, some of them are getting so bad that the customers are just, and some of them can't even be picked up by our trucks anymore. They're so damaged, rotten out. So we pushed off that expense as long as we
Yeah.
can. And now we're moving forward with repairs cautiously. I mean,
And these are repairs just not on the plastic and polys, but on the metal.
on the,
big-
on the
yeah, big
metal
metal.
dumpsters.
Yeah, the dumpsters.
Yep.
Well, and then there's a lot of repairs to the trucks, and some of the equipment has had issues, and
Was part of that was the cat that got
Oh, yeah,
damaged.
we got poked.
poked. That's a good-
Yeah.
good
Was that
description.
month?
well,
Yeah,
if we
that
could
Well, I
pull up-
wasn't sure.
if we could pull up the expenditure report, I can see.
And I may be ahead too. I know some of these are kind of.
So that would be for July.
Actually, that would have been in June, I think, the cat.
I wasn't sure when we, got the,
Oh, yeah.
You are in July. Let's scroll up a little bit. So part of that would be underground also, I think. Oops. Yeah, I can pull them up in QuickBooks and send out a little updated report on exactly what those were. But a lot of it was like container repairs. and parts for
137.
trucks.
Oh, yeah.
part of that was earnings.
37. In fact, yeah, and July
Yeah.
was one of those weeks that we came close to not having enough trucks.
Oh, that's right. You guys are talking about that.
I mean, yeah, we were just like everything, perfect storm type situation where everything was just.
Busting
But
down.
it's, I mean, it's inevitable when you're running 30-year-old trucks that every once in a while you just have a rough go of things. And you just,
So the other thing under repair services and maintenance is it says the month of June, and I thought we were talking about the month of July. So is that?
We are talking about,
Is that
yeah, that's a typo.
That's a typo, okay.
Yeah, nearly 4,800 of that was just one long repair,
Oh, repair
one truck.
on one truck. Oh, no kidding. What, hydraulics went out or something? Or?
it was a gremlin.
It was,
One of those.
Yeah, we sent it over to Junction a couple times. Then we actually had to take it up to Salt Lake
Whoa.
yes,
to get it repaired. And then then that didn't even include in-house time that we spent on it. So really the repair cost on that is actually a lot greater.
Uh-huh.
We just absorbed some of it with our own labor.
Darn it.
major electrical gremlin.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was, yeah.
What happens when you're running 30 old trucks?
Well, actually, that one was one of our newer trucks.
Really?
Not our new ones we bought, but I
Right.
think there was a 2018, 2019 truck.
Is that right? Wow.
Well, that's a big reason why we were like, we've got to get it
Yeah.
back on the road. 'Cause
Right.
It's not
Sure.
one of the oldest ones.
Sure. Electrical.
All kinds of different things, but yeah, the backup alarm wouldn't go off.
Oh, I see. So
Ever.
it's beeping
So
all
that
the
was-
time.
Well, that's
Yeah.
where it started,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden the PTO wouldn't work, so you couldn't run any of the functions of the truck and. Yeah,
Wow. Hmm. Well, let's see. I'll make a motion. I want to make sure I get the right date. A motion to approve the expenditures of the month of July 2023 in the amount of $369,559.80.
Thank you, Kevin.
Second,
Thank you, Mary. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes 5-0. And staff reports, Mike.
Excuse me. It's a short month since our last board meeting, but I always want to just hit on the overall condition of things. And the first thing is, three major things occurred this month. Overtime continues to go down. The other side of that is roll-off revenue is also going to be way down because we definitely hit the heat of summer and construction dried up compared to early June, definitely.
Well, and Horizon left.
Yeah, that's a good point. Horizon closed up for the summer too.
And they may not be back for a while because the writer's strike, want to understand.
That should affect it. You're right. It should.
Yeah.
So there's pluses and minuses there, but just in the last week, we have been able to hire 2 new route helpers. So we're very nearly fully staffed in the collection side of things for the first time since I've been here. I feel we need one more CDL driver to really be where we want to be at and be as flexible and to not work these guys into the ground,
Right.
basically. But that's a major positive
I
and
heard someone called that has a CDL looking for a job.
had not heard that yet.
he's gonna stop by.
Good deal.
Good.
So we had no apps for 2.5 months and we get 3 in a week. So actually 4, counting that other one.
Hip hip hooray.
Yes, yes. I mean, it really goes a long way on just morale to have a little flexibility.
Sure.
Plus, we can address some disciplinary issues that we simply couldn't address if you don't have somebody else to put in that person's place.
Yep.
The new trucks, the smaller non-CDL truck had to be returned to the dealer. We just had too many issues in too short a time. They're gonna be performing the repairs and we're in discussions to compensating us for the time our mechanics have put in.
Did you say they're gonna be performing their prayers?
The
The repair-
the repairs.
Oh, good.
They're gonna be doing that.
Talking about gremlins, you know, are we praying on these trucks now?
Whatever it takes.
The 20-yard truck is en route daily and working, but does have a few more issues that need to be corrected. The reason I'm bringing this up, is I want to make sure it's clear that all new trucks have break-in issues.
Mhm.
Things just pressures aren't right, things from the factory but there's no doubt, we've had way too many for new trucks with these two, so it's a little discouraging, but the 20-yard is running, which is good. These two issues will get taken care of and we'll get up to speed where we're supposed to be. And it'll make us better off for it. So the trucks were definitely needed. I think everyone knows that. The real reason I'm bringing it up is I got a phone call last week from a concerned citizen, shall we say? And the comment was made, you got two brand new trucks you aren't even using. And basically saying that, you bought equipment you don't even use. So, mismanagement, whatnot, you want to take it from there. So I think the gossip got twisted around out there. Certain people had talked about the troubles we were having and it turned into, they bought two trucks they're not even using.
Ah,
So I just wanted to get that out there. I learn more and more about Moab and I get reminders that, yeah, we're definitely in a smaller town occasionally. And this was one that reminded me. So I'm going to be saying stuff to the staff to just, let's try to stay as positive as we can when we're out there in the grocery stores or wherever. I should say the grocery store. But, well, that's true. That's true. Well, if you count.
Walkers.
Yeah.
Some people do, because.
The guy's the best job. They have the best price on milk.
That's right.
I don't mean to sell us short. I don't mean to sell us short there. But that was it was a little discouraging. I'm like, whoa, no. This person wanted to get on the phone, complain and hang up. And I said, no, you've got to let me address these issues. You can't just.
Complain and then.
Yeah, so it turned into an hour discussion, but I think overall it was good.
Good.
It was good.
And I'm sure you explained to them that, we were having difficulties getting them on the road.
Yeah, truthful, this is what's going on. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
We got a great plan in place, to bring overtime down even further.
To bring that.
Overtime down even further, to make the routes a little more efficient. We're gonna be moving some stuff around, but we really can't do that until we've got the right trucks in the
Yeah.
right place.
Yeah.
So once we work out the bugs here, plus after we get through the heat of summer, it'll be a good time to make those changes. So we've got a plan that should greatly help our two routes that have the most overtime.
What's the estimated time of delivery for this, our little truck to get back to us?
We do not know. We just got it up there last week.
Okay.
Got a check on it yesterday and they haven't done anything yet.
Okay.
Plus we've got to take another truck up there. That's having some of these same situations with the gremlins that we just can't fix in-house. So it depends on those two trucks. Pre-trip inspections. This is something that is standard in the industry that wasn't necessarily getting done here. Just in the last month. Because we're starting to require this on a daily basis, as you're supposed to do. We had at least 2 times that these pre-trip inspections saved major malfunctions. We could have easily blown an entire motor, lost an engine if they hadn't done that. So I wanted you to know that we're making progress on some of these things that, that are supposed to get done that weren't necessarily being done in the past. The tire removal, I'm waiting to hear back from the EQ, hopefully this month. And as far as I know, everything's fine. It's just slow going. And then we'll get that project started hopefully next month. The new radios, which you approved last month, we're hoping to be all in by September 1st is what we're hoping for.
Right.
This is not just a safety issue, it's, the communication will help our efficiency so much. Being able to reach these guys pretty much anywhere in the service area.
Mhm.
It's gonna pay dividends for years, The financial advisor, we, had an initial meeting with Alex Burton from Zions, who was chosen as the financial advisor last month. We're actually able to meet in person because he was gonna be down here for some other meetings. I think it went really well, and after meeting him in person and the people he knows and the area, he knows it well, I think we definitely made a right choice. So thank you for that. The Raftellus, the other consultant, they've begun work on the two big projects, the compensation study and the rate study. We're gonna be having a joint meeting with Zions and Raftellus next week, because their information kind of goes together. And I'm hoping that they can push each other along a little bit. The RFP for a benefits brokerage was due yesterday, and we've got 5 proposals. I have not even looked at them yet, but that's to be decided still, but that's good that we had that many interested.
What did you call it again? A benefits brokerage?
Yes, we're actually looking for the broker that'll handle the benefits package. I think LJ could probably explain it clearer than I could, to be honest.
So when you use a broker, you have the ability to look at several different types of coverages. And that was the main goal, is to be able to reduce our benefits costs as far as paying out for health insurance and give the employees opportunities to kind of build their own. So that if they wanted an FSA instead of an HSA, they could do that. Or if they, if they wanted to pay a higher deductible and not have an HSA, or however, whichever way they wanted to build for themselves, then they could do that. And so that's what the brokerages will help us do. So we can create a win-win scenario for everybody. So that the employees can get the kind of benefits that they want and hopefully reduce our costs.
Okay.
It's a fact finding to see what's out there to see if we can tighten things up a little bit, basically.
Because that's one of our largest costs.
Right, exactly.
We can't do anything about URS, but we can do something about the insurance.
And that is it for my report, unless there are any questions.
I was wondering if you could give us a little progress report on green waste and composting. And if there isn't any progress, you can tell me that.
I can't say there's been a major progress by any means. The mulch obviously keeps selling and we keep selling out.
Yes.
Chris, you've been up there since I have. How's the supply looking?
I thought we'd stop selling it for a while.
No, we ran out last year, so we ran out. This year I'd actually allocated some that I wanted to start, because it's good to talk about all this stuff, but you have to be able to start, smaller and be able to work up, because the logistics of some of the stuff that we've been talking about are pretty large. And unless we got a handle on it, we will never be able to kind of move forward with it. So kind of the plan with up in Moab was just to start with just a smaller compost type thing. Problem is we kept selling out with the mulch. So I've actually set aside some of the mulch to turn into compost. So no progress has been made, and we're actually selling some of that mulch. So I mean, we're kind of a victim of our own success there. People really like the mulch that we've been making. I feel like we could probably do a better product up there and get a better return off it, because to turn it from green waste into mulch is pretty expensive, and the cost, just like the cost everywhere, keeps going up. So we kind of have to think into the future, if we can make a better product and get more money for it, that'll help continue the process. I don't know if that was
how would we make it better?
screening would be a huge one. That was really in my step. And because when I first, and I don't know if you remember this, but when I first came on board, within my first week, we started grind of the mulch. It was kind of business as usual. We ended up damaging their equipment, ended up paying out like $11,000. So I shut it all down. We buried all the green waste. And we've just been moving things forward in stages to make sure that each step could pay for the next step. And we've been pretty successful at that. And the next step in my mind is to take the mulch and have a screen mulch, which we can sell for quite a bit more. I mean, there's companies in town that actually sell for, way more than what we're selling it for. And part of the way we could do that is by just screening it. So not even moving it to the compost stage yet. But I'm trying to make sure that kind of each thing can kind of pay for the next one, so that this kind of can be a, in a perpetuity type thing, rather than just do this big thing that just collapse, because obviously our focus really needs to be on our basics right now. I mean, because if we can't collect trash, transport trash to our landfill and bury trash, everything else is just pipe dreams.
Yeah, I was at 3 different residences this last week and a half, and they all had compost from the landfill, and they all were just the mulch, not the compost, but the mulch, and they just were all enthusiastic about it and how wonderful it was. And I mean, we love it here. Look at this, covered all this dirt and taking care of the weeds, and so it's a good product. It's a very good product. And we do have quite a pile building up for another mulch session, don't we?
Yeah, and that's good. But then that, accrues another expense every year. I mean, I think we got it. I think we've even talked about maybe going 2 years to try to let it build up. I mean, those are all things that we'll look at, according to, our revenue and expenses. The other thing though is, while we're doing this, I've been documenting this and sending it to the DEQ to keep our compost permit viable up at Moab. So like we pay, I think it's a minimum. The minimum's 120 a quarter or so.
25, I thought.
Or yeah, I think right around there, quarter.
So for $500-600 a year, we get this permit.
We get this permit that we can continue,
compost.
continue to move forward. I would really like to see us just to try to do something really simple up there.
Mhm.
Just, we've been researching like static piles where we just basically add water and some nitrogen and just cover it and let it sit for 6 months. And people have been getting some, I mean, it's not the greatest stuff, but like I said, I really want to start somewhere and, and make sure that we can move to the next step and still be financially okay with what we're doing.
No, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Not expecting you to start recycling or composting household.
Well,
Yeah.
Obviously that's the big dream, but that's, I mean,
We're a small town.
and I mean, I don't think the big development that's, right across the street is going to appreciate us trying to do food. I got a guy up there, he's went through multiple compost training thing. He wants to do biosolids into the compost.
Yeah, you bet.
And I visited a place that they sold out every year and people loved it. I mean, at first, the first sell of this is like, oh, really?
But when you mix that with compost, and that's the nitrogen fixer right there.
A good source of biosolids is the arena. They have a lot of
Yeah.
And there's been discussions, I know that have gone on with previous administrators here for that, we've discussed that as part of, maybe
we're
just-
ready for it.
Yeah.
well, I've talked to them, they're more than willing to
Oh, yeah.
give us some.
There's an
Okay,
incredible amount of, community composting going on in the States. And doesn't involve big equipment, it involves, human capital more or less. And so that's something that I've been suggesting in this community, this is sustainability. We're talking about that under solid waste.
I do it in my backyard, but I'm very neglectful and it gets anaerobic and it's just very steep.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be in backyards. It would be in hubs around town.
Oh,
Yeah, that would
Is
be.
what's happening
Yeah.
in other communities. And so that's
Well, the youth garden
That's
becomes
true.
a great hub of
That's
its
true.
own.
Yeah, and there's potential for all kinds of hubs in
Sure,
this town.
sure,
So we'll see what the city comes up with.
yeah.
Because that's where it's coming from in other communities. It's coming from the cities. They are coordinating it. They are, working with people like us too, of course. But it's this, I think the city has to really want to do it, and the city sustainability is right there in front of us, so we're suggesting.
Yep.
So the breaking polycarts, were those old ones that had just reached the end of their life, or were they?
Well, some, but this also goes, you want to handle this one?
To answer that question, no, we got an epidemic of carts we know. That need to be replaced that aren't that old, that were. Second rate when they were bought. I don't know any other way to say it. They're having the same breakage for the bar, they're breaking at the same point. So it's the quality of the resin used or the design.
Is there recourse with the manufacturer or not practically?
We're in the early stages of addressing that, but I'm afraid it's gone on too long, is what I'm afraid of, basically. Please add whatever you'd like.
Well, so when we first got the order, there was issues where they were breaking at the bar. If you know the polycarts, and that was something that could kind of be addressed and kind of overcome. But what has happened is it's evolved into not just the bar breaking, it's the whole front where the bar is attached to the plastic is cracking out. And it's, we don't even know the full extent of how bad. Cause these guys, I mean, they just go out there and they work and they do whatever they can to make sure that they get it done. I found out one guy was actually picking up the carts and just dumping them in. I mean, we've fought to try to get rid of the 3-cart service.
Yeah.
And then these guys are out there now, they have to pick up even a bigger can now to dump them.
Right,
And yeah.
and they're not breaking, I mean, it's not an overload of the cart that's causing the breakage, it's just that quick movement that's pulling that apart and smash, they're just low quality carts is what they are.
When were they purchased?
2 years, 3 years ago?
We received them in May of 2021.
Yeah, it was that big order that we had
Or
come in.
2022.
Yeah.
Last year.
That
Yeah,
big order
last
we
year,
had come
yeah,
in.
so May of last year is when we
How come
received
we
the
didn't
order.
go back to how come we didn't, seemingly address it then?
Because like I said, at first it was kind of a flaw where it could be kind of addressed and we started collecting them. I actually started an email, but there was at first, I mean, the amount of carts that we purchased at the time just didn't. You're always gonna have a few defects when you get something. So the full extent hasn't played out until just the last couple of months.
Mhm.
It's exponentially increased.
Are we ordering them from the same people? again?
Never.
We're
yet.
certainly not
Yeah.
planning on it, yeah. Good question, though. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is the heat, I mean, Moab's, does that make it more difficult to find the quality of carts?
Most of the country is as hot as Moab.
Well,
I
and
guess it is now.
And
you're
and
right.
the district was actually warned not to go outside of a certain manufacturers because we got carts that have been in this town that are 20 years old that are just, I
Just
mean,
doing
we,
fine.
They're a
but
bomber.
they're now, we need to get them off.
Yes,
So,
yes.
there's no excuse for a cart to fail within the first year.
Yeah,
Are
no,
we sure
that's
they
fine.
came in May of 2022? I thought they were older than that.
No,
I think we placed the order earlier than
Yeah,
that, and then they
yeah.
arrived. It took them a while to get here
Yeah.
because there was the supply and demand was out, if I
Yeah, yeah.
recall.
Right.
yeah, because what had happened is,
Year to get here.
because I'd even had to make another order because that order hadn't come in, and so we
Right.
did a generic order. Just to get carts because we were a couple months with like 0 carts.
Yeah,
So I found a place that would just give us generic ones in the meantime, and then that big order came in and,
so the generic ones have held, but the big order.
oh yeah, they're fine, but they're the same, they're made. By a subsidiary of a bigger company that most, and as far as my knowledge goes, there's about 4 companies that you
Yeah.
buy from, and sure, there's always new companies that are always, and, you
Yeah,
know.
Maybe I misunderstood. I thought they were older than that. I'd like to pursue that even harder now.
Yeah, I got all the contact information. I've started emails to go even when they first started going out, started breaking, but it was such a small issue and we had, you know, bigger issues going on.
sure.
But it's just been in this last, I would just last couple months that the integrity of the parts have been failing.
Mhm.
I think the winter also, like the cold weather didn't help either.
Yeah, but they should
But
be
there's
able
been
to.
other
areas in the country too.
Yeah, they
I
should.
understand that,
But
it's
it, yes,
cheaper
yeah, I think,
material.
yeah, the cheaper material, probably the cold and then the hot.
Yeah.
And then
Just
that's,
takes that poly and shatters it.
yeah, and it wasn't, I mean, these weren't cheap. I
Yeah.
mean, these carts, I mean, y'all know how expensive buying these carts are.
Oh,
Seems
yeah.
like you could go to the Better Business Bureau. I mean,
Well-
we're a big business and, you know, we're speaking for a lot of big businesses and it seems like the Better Business Bureau would want to know if you need them, would want to know about this.
I think there's gonna need to be some digging. This was all handled by previous administration, and so a lot of the documentations and stuff, I just don't even know where they are or if they exist or.
I'm sure I can find them.
So getting back to that, we're going to dig into that a little harder.
Okay, thank you. So was the field audit part of permitting?
No, that was the financial audit that when the auditors came from Salt Lake.
Oh, so like they were in the field, not
Yes.
we had respectful auditors in our field.
No,
Looking at land. Okay, thank you.
Visiting auditors in the field.
The wilderness of Moab.
Yeah.
That's right.
For 3 days.
Okay, thank you. That's all
2.5.
my questions. All right.
Is it me?
Yes.
Um,
You're up.
Okay, I'll just go through this real quick. I just wanted to just touch on kind of each facility real quick. Out of Klondike. If you guys will remember some of the issues we had with us kind of going outside of our permitted cell. Kind of the reason why we got the dozer. We've got, for the most part, we've got the rough excavation finished for cell 4. So we're, the danger of us running out of airspace is gone.
Great. Did you dig extra deep on that one?
We dig deep enough that as deep as we could go.
Yeah,
And still keep integrity.
Yes, very good. very
Because it's basically our depth is defined by our slopes.
good. Yes.
Moab,
No, that's out at Klondike. So we've just, we're gonna begin talking to an engineer. Just to come on preliminary talks that's gonna lead into. Some like next year, we have to start our permit renewal for Moab, the year after that, permit renewal for Klondike. So we've hired on an engineer to basically hold our hands for this kind of preliminary thing to just make sure that we're thinking in the right terms and can help us basically formulate some RFPs that are gonna have to go out over the next couple of years. So that's kind of Klondike and Moab. Moab's, I mean, it's good. The only thing at Moab was the tire, but Mike mentioned the tires, he's got it handled. Really, we're just waiting on DEQ, like Mike said. We've done everything we could, and that'll be glorious to see those tires go.
Mhm.
So over at the CRC, if you've been up there lately, you'll notice that we're storing containers over there and roll-offs. Basically with everything being down as far as with the heat and the construction and our roll-off business being down, we had no room here. So we've moved a bunch of containers over there for storage. And as part of the process to replace some of these dumpsters, different than the roll-off containers, that have been out there for 20 years plus, we've started a system where we're going to start taking them. We've added a process over at the CRC where they're going to clean them. They're going to assess them and figure out whether we can fix them in-house or send them out to be fixed. So we're just gonna, this is a huge undertaking. It's gonna be fairly expensive, but it's gonna take us, and it's gonna take quite a bit of time. So we've kind of just put this in play. And we'll just kind of turn the tap on and off as we can afford it and not afford it.
Okay.
These are standard stuff, the engineers for a landfill, obviously, you gotta have engineers. If you don't have one in-house, you definitely need to contract out. Containers, that's what you do, as they get beat up and bent and ran into and set on fire, you swap them out, and it's part of the cost of doing business, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's been neglected. I mean, for long periods of time.
Yeah.
So as Mike had mentioned, we're almost full staffed. I agree with Mike. We probably need one more CDL, but out of the new people, I have 4 potential employees that are excited about going into the CDL program. So hopefully within the next, I think we're about 3 months is what it takes them to go through the whole process, that we'll be creating our own CDL drivers. As you see out in the transfer station is the metal pile is being removed.
I was gonna have a question on that. Yeah, what's the price of metal right now?
$93 a ton.
$93 a ton is what, yeah, actually surprisingly, I'm not sure how they were able to pull it off, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
And the pile will be gone, so it'll be a good day.
Great.
Chris got 4 bids and they were all over the place. I was very surprised. And we definitely went with these guys.
And we've actually used these guys before, so
Okay.
there was, you know.
Now, it took a nick of metal, is going to go out.
Yeah.
Won't be reduced.
The other thing at the transfer station is the loader should be here August 24th. The loader now is sitting in Salina. We are just waiting for our specialized bucket to arrive, and that should be here the 24th.
That's the gripper bucket.
Yeah, the gripper bucket. And to answer a question that Diane had in our last meeting, because I had mentioned that I can't remember my exact the way I had put it, but it's something that we were hopefully that this will take over the terms.
Okay.
But what had happened over this last month is our material handler, our excavator actually went down. And so we were forced to use our loader to load trucks, and it worked out just fine. And I mean, it was a little bit awkward, but as soon as we put that other side of the bucket on it,
Right.
I have complete faith that this is gonna be a better way to load the trucks.
Great, excellent.
And that's all I have.
I have a question.
Yes.
I was up at the CRC the other day after that last rain. And there was a lot of water, I guess, got in on that, I don't know my directions up there, west side. The long side of that building, there was lots of water in there. You had a fan as big as this room blowing air around to dry it up. So I peeked around the corner and looked to see what was on the other side of that wall on the outside, and there's a bunch of
Blue, old blue containers. Yeah, so what had happened in the past is there's a little curb on the outside of the building out there. And they thought they put that curb in there to try to be like a push wall in our transfer station. So they pushed the cardboard into the bucket to load it into our baler. They were damaged. That didn't work, obviously, and so they were pushing it into the building,
Thank you,
which was
Mary.
damaging the building. So basically, those containers are a
Well,
push
Mary.
wall. Yeah, so they use the loader to push the cardboard into the container that helps fill in the bucket.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the same reason is that bucket doesn't have a clamshell or I'm not sure what other term you would use, but it's
A claw.
a claw. Because it doesn't have that, that's why you need the push walls.
But the rain, why did the rain come in so bad?
So the rain comes in because there's no rain gutters there, and the rain comes right down the side of the building and forms a pool on the inside of that curb and then goes underneath the building. Actually, they use the fan not to dry the water. They use the fan just to,
They cool,
yeah.
but water's not come in like that before, had it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
No,
just wasn't aware of
it's a thing we've known for a while.
Are the birds still a problem up on the roof?
Not as much.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing the scarecrow thing up there. even.
Yeah, they took it out. Yeah, the owl, it's actually, yeah, it's been,
Okay.
it's still up there. They've just moved it.
Okay.
A quick question about, oh, you're through, I'm sorry, Diane.
Well, no, let's just, there was a new employee up there recently with a woman and she was in the equipment.
She's
She's not
actually,
new.
yeah, she's not new. She's just transferred. She was actually spent most of her time out at Klondike.
Okay, I've talked to her at one of our picnics.
Mhm. Yeah, she's a good operator.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, the new Ben said the number fives. I had a conversation with a fellow who used to teach or who was in charge of the Boulder of the University of Colorado sustainability section over there. And he said that the caps that we have, the number fives are the good plastics that we need to, and I'm glad we're collecting them and stuff. And he said a good clean load that's all fives is you can get some money for that. But he said the caps that we are throwing away are number fives. And so we should be collecting caps. He said that's a very valuable part of that number five.
And that's, we do, we've got the lids, cans, you see them, the old coffee
Yes.
tins.
Yeah. yeah.
So on the number ones and the number twos, and also, I believe by the glass, we've got lids, tin. And when those are full, we check, double
Yeah.
check, make sure that they are, because there are a couple that aren't number fives.
Okay.
But yeah, just double check them, and if they're good,
Yeah. put
into the
them in
number
there.
five they go.
Good. Well, then I'll, because I've chucked my lids forever.
Yeah, that's what we're taught. Lids aren't allowed, but now we're saying, let's leave them on and you guys will take care of it.
No,
No,
take them
no.
off and separate them. See, we gotta separate them off of the plastics to get them onto the number fives. And then if we put them in the small containers, what you're talking about, they go right in that number
Yeah,
five
we've got
then.
yellow
Tough cans.
coffee cans that say
Yeah.
lids across
Yeah.
all of them, and
Yeah.
they're all placed at locations in which historically there is a threaded
Mhm.
lid.
Yeah, that's right, lid. So which ones are the ones that aren't the fives? Do we even know or?
What do you mean, the ones that aren't number five?
Yeah, the ones that we separate out that aren't number fives.
Yeah, those just go straight into the trash.
Well, no, they go into
Or do they
single
go into
stream.
single stream?
They go into single stream. I saw them there this morning.
But but they are they marked some way?
Some are, some aren't.
Yeah,
I see.
I can't fully answer that one because it's one of those developing things.
Yeah,
But if they,
Stamping is not
Catholic on that disposable bottle right there.
Yes.
yes,
Like, I don't think that's a number five.
yeah, that was the thing. I was wondering, if these guys are number fives.
probably not, but none of the lids are marked, but a lot of them are, and in single stream, they can optical sort them out.
Uh-huh.
And then they get thrown out?
No, when they get put in with the single stream, they get sorted out as number fives, the ones that are number fives,
Wow.
because they have optical sorters that can recognize that
But the ones
material.
that aren't number fives get thrown out.
They do. They
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
Or they are they not utilized for WTE?
It depends on the MRF. They could be, some MRFs do send them to waste energy.
We'll take a hell of a lot of lids to make a bell,
Exactly.
but since we're trying, we're trying to sort out the best
But
products for recycling.
I think I mentioned last month that polypropylene number fives is finally a market you can depend on.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
So do we send it, do we get enough of it to send by itself or it goes with our other plastics?
the polypropylene number five, as far as the trays and trays, those get baled,
And go out with other stuff?
go out as
Yeah.
polypropylene, yes. They get baled just like the other commodities.
But the value is high because it's been separated, they've been separated in single stream, not single
Always.
stream, but that's, that bell's more valuable than your regular plastics, one or twos and, threes, whatever.
Speaking of plastics, PET. We're being charged again. I didn't think we would see that, but supply is high, demand is low. So it's commodities up and down, you just, and world markets, and it all adds up.
We being charged for it.
There is a charge for PET right now. which was a major surprise to me. Are you sure? And yes, they are.
And there's no way for us to store or to, until we're not being
Yeah,
charged.
we've tried that. It was
They
pretty
contaminate too much
catastrophic.
with
Yeah.
sand.
Can you look around for somebody that's not charging whenever this volatile, like the stock exchange? Can you do that? Is that?
You can try to shop around. Sometimes those relationships you build with buyers goes a long way. And considering we have such a small amount that we have to send all the commodities at once, basically to make it efficient to send it on a truck, we would have to store up enough of just that to send someplace else. So you'd have to take that into account. All right, we've got one truck going to Salt Lake City. Now we've got another truck that might have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Um,
And the cost of that might just, and it's a wash or even the cost us to get it shipped to that certain.
exactly. Is it possible? Yes. I'd hate to go there and then the market comes back next month.
Yeah.
Something to investigate though. Where was I headed with that? There was another point I wanted to make and it completely lost. Sorry.
So on a given load, how many bales of PET might you have?
Good question. Because we send a
Very rough.
mixed truck.
Like in a truck, I would say at the most four, probably, probably more on the average, at least a couple, but I mean, it is the biggest. I would say the greatest quantity, number one PETs and the number two natural are two biggest quantities. And I think, because I've been watching the prices in the markets, that they're pretty similar across the board. We get multiple pricing sheets for them and PETs are just down. I mean, it's not just the people that we go to, it's an industry-wide thing. So I don't know that shopping around wouldn't give you more than a few cents either way.
So what is the cost? Roughly?
I should know that. Since I brought it up, I should know that off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's like $20 a ton.
I wanted to say 30, but.
And that's
you
on
may be-
top of the transportation.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, we gotta pay for all of our transportation, get up there, and usually they go through and they weigh everything, and if there's something that they're paying for per ton, then we get that money back, but instead now they send us a bill instead of a check.
Do with it? There's nobody buying it. What do they do with it? Do they have unlimited space?
Yeah, I think some of these bigger places
Some of them,
sit on it.
but because it's all about volume, we're selling one truck,
Right.
they're selling 25 trucks.
Yeah.
So well, it might cost us 20, it more than likely, they might be making a few dollars a ton with the current market.
So do we want to transition into glass in this conversation?
$40 per ton.
$40 per
Yeah.
pet?
Yep. That's what we pay.
Hopefully that'll
If we
be,
were to spend time discussing cost efficiencies, there might be lower hanging fruit. Like I know we're very concerned about the fate of the recyclables, but like within the scale of this business's finances, like if we're looking for places to save money, there might be lower hanging fruit.
Over to BET. Is that what you're saying?
Well, just like, I mean, we have labor costs, we have insurance, like,
Oh, yeah.
we spend a lot of time talking about recycling, but it's like, we could be talking about health insurance. or
Yeah.
Places where we're like potentially like spending tens of thousands of dollars that we don't need to.
Yeah, recycling is a wonderful thing, but if we're being charged to ship our recycling out of here.
But we're not always being charged for Pete, and we're talking about Pete. So, come on, you guys, let's not go there.
It's a loss leader, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, our citizen to be heard this afternoon was very concerned about the CRC, but clearly it's losing its money.
It's never made money.
Well, wait, that's not clear from the discussion we just had. I mean, we need to see like, an accounting of the full financials,
True.
like it's just one commodity, and
Okay,
for
right.
this one period, they're charging us, but. Like.
Well, the same
card-
thing
card-
happens with cardboard. That's what I was gonna
Right,
say.
but cardboard dwarfs, as I recall, the quantities of cardboard dwarfs that of plastic.
Oh, yeah, definitely,
Anything else.
definitely. Yeah.
But we also just started the number fives and we're hoping to make money on that, which it might.
But yeah, but that's, I mean, to
It's compared-
Caitlin's point, this is such a small quantity to compare to what we do.
Mhm.
And really, I mean, of all the people I've talked to in the last 5 years of being in this industry, I know that's not a long time, but I've tried to keep myself open to the people that have been doing this and, you know, recycling is never gonna make you money. The benefit of recycling is more environmental and it comes from diversion rates. And that's where they figure out where there's money to be had is because it essentially saves airspace.
Yeah, there's a cost
So
saving.
there's a cost savings rather than a
Right.
revenue generator.
Right.
And I mean, and for us, really, we're not, as far as Klondike, we're not really super concerned about our airspace. I mean,
Yeah.
of course we are, that's, you know, number one, if you're in landfill business, but we got a lot of room. We've got, you know, we've set ourselves up for years to come
Yeah.
I mean, the Klondike landfills, I mean, it's pretty well off right now.
Mhm. As well as Moab. Moab looked great.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Anything else, Chris? I'm not sure if we jumped in at the end of your.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm
That was
I'm
Partly
doing
my
it.
fault, partly my fault.
I'm not sure where we were headed at. It was-
But you don't have any more facilities to report.
I don't have any more facilities to report on.
Okay, well, there's no further questions. LJ.
Okay, so I'm just gonna talk a little about our AMCS training. There's been so many hiccups that we're finally through to the point where we can talk about how training is gonna happen. It's gonna start. Savannah's been lucky enough to be able to actually start some of the online training, but we've had a little bit of a hiccup with that as well. Mike and I have not been able to log on with our emails like we're supposed to. And we did talk with Angelique today, who was our project manager. She's aware of the situation and hopefully tomorrow they'll get that fixed. We are gonna have Chris, Jessica, Danny, Ron, and Paul are already set up to start the training. Curtis and Levi. I think that's everybody, and Nick, all go through the training so that they can understand the ins and outs of their sections that they'll be working with for like Chris and Ron and Paul dispatch specifically, Levi for, helping guys with maintenance in the trucks. He needs to kind of know what's going on with that. Savannah, myself, Mike and Nick will get to know everything, all the ins and outs of all of it. And Jessica is just gonna kind of know a little bit of some of the background stuff. She doesn't need to know about dispatch or things like that, but some of the other parts for like with the landfills, which they call scale houses. And then Curtis, because he's a little bit more tech savvy than Wendy, he'll be focusing directly on the customer service and of aspects of the software.
So what does AMCS stand for?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
So it's just a business that
Yes.
we contracted to.
Yes, a
To do
lot,
this.
2 years ago to start. it seems
Yeah,
like.
that's why,
Right, that's right.
it sounds like I should know this, but I don't.
I know we wrote a check to him. I can look and see
Oh,
what it
that's
stands
all right.
for.
That's all
Yeah,
right.
this is the software company that however long ago, when we first went through this to try and upgrade from the current billing software that we have with this TerraCrash, which crashes on us almost weekly.
Okay.
And what the advantage is with the AMCS software is that one, it will work with the trucks and tell us in real time. We can invoice all our customers from the software so that we can combine. Right now, we're doing invoicing separately for the landfills and the recycling center because we're still doing it out of QuickBooks. TerraCrash was such an issue. I didn't even want to start putting them into TerraCrash. So this will combine all of our customers into one database. So then we can combine their invoices. We can do the billing so much easier than we are now. It's not going to be separated. It'll help streamline getting the revenue coming in at a more timely manner. It'll also run a bunch of reports for us because it'll be keeping all kinds of records for us. It's all digitized now instead of us having to do a lot of data entry. what else is it gonna do for us?
Can it do stuff for Mike, like keep track of, they're talking metrics in the sustainability plan, and they want to know how much, weight of how much we're recycling now, how much we be recycling if we, whatever, if we brought in food waste, can it coordinate and produce reports on stuff like that in the future if we chose?
It should be able to.
It could certainly do that if we had the scale,
Right.
but we don't have a scale for it to track. It would definitely,
You could use that software to do anything, I would think.
Well, we're still gonna have to enter some of that. The people will have to enter it manually as far as the measurements, but we can't do directly with the scale except for with Klondike. Klondike's the only
Well,
one.
in Jessica's newsletter that she sends out every time, you've got your report there of how much stuff you, Mike, how much stuff has been recycled or whatever, the different categories already. So somebody's keeping track already.
Yeah.
we have a scale at the CRC, a small one that weighs each bale, and then they have to put it onto a report and into a spreadsheet.
Okay.
So there is no digital record all in one, so to speak.
No,
It's all
4
manual.
separate
It's-
trackers.
Yes, she's got the tracker
Okay.
that are just very complicated and time consuming. And she has to go off each ticket, make sure each ticket's right, and yada, yada, yada. We're just modernizing everything. And yes, what we are purchasing would be able to do what you're describing if we weighed each material as it came in. Like,
So because there's not a sale with each customer dropping stuff off at CRC, I mean, I know a cardboard there can be, but like for many customers there, they drive in, they drop stuff off, there's no sort of record of that transaction.
Right.
So is there no sort of entry point to enter that into AMCS? Because the only time it gets, a lot of that
Yes,
stuff
we
is
can.
measured is outbound. And so there's a record for the transaction with the purchaser of the materials, but there's no billing.
Well, there could be intercompany transactions, so
That would be accounted in AMCS?
we have to key it in. It's not gonna be.
But this program sounds like it's gonna be a lot more efficient and a lot better for collections. And then for delivery to landfills and what we're shipping out and going into the landfills and all that, so that's.
It'll be a lot nicer for our customers as well, because then they'll be able to log in to their account and see their invoices, their history, things like that. And order mulch, order roll-offs if they want, order extra pickups, all those kind of services.
And you'll be able to contact them if they have, 5 bags of trash outside of their dump, out of their thing, and saying, okay, we're gonna have to charge you an extra $35 for this pickup because you got 5 bags of trash outside of your container, right? I mean,
Right,
that's
and what will
pictures
happen,
and information coming from that.
the drivers can take a picture of that, which will be sent to the dispatch area, in which case it won't go directly to the customer. They're working on trying to fix that for us so that it can go directly to the customer's account, but it would go to the dispatch area, in which case we would then be able to get a copy of it and then possibly upload it to the customer, or at least email it to them if they had questions. We can keep it, so we
Right.
can have that digital record. Yep, yes, indeed, we did have this. So.
Yeah, good.
Isn't the mobile, like, our tablet supposed to be able to track everything like at the CRC because it's scale, but it's not actually like managed by scale. Like, it doesn't have to be used by scale.
Right, no, it'll track it. I just wanted to see, that's where there was that terminology difference, because they just call every other location scale.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they have a scale, but they call the other location scale.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean,
so
when
the tablet that we use, and I just got an email before the meeting to get the not necessarily tablet, but like the credit card machines and stuff to be able to use at the CRC, the landfill, the transfer station, and Klondike. Well, we don't need a Klondike, but so we'll get rid of Square also. So all the credit card transactions will be going through one area, which will streamline that as well. So
will that save us money?
it should.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Square is pretty cheap. It's the best one out there, overall. But this, because we're doing it in a larger area, it should help streamline everything. And reduce the price. It certainly will be less than, NMI and Card Connect.
Well, hopefully that answered your question, Diane. What is an MCS? Anything
Big
else?
business.
Anything else, LJ?
Nope, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. No questions? We'll move on to Jessica.
So I've just got a couple things, because like Mike said, it hasn't been that long since our last meeting. So as Diane has maybe previously mentioned, we did meet in person for the Moab Sustainability Action Plans kind of brainstorming session where we experts in a lot of different areas came together and came up with, I've actually got my notes from it right here, creating goals, metrics, and strategies to achieve these potential goals that the city set forward for their sustainability action plan. So that was actually in person. That was, I believe, last week. Sent out the August newsletter, so that was good. So we were excited about this and it started, but then weather canceled us. We were the volunteer chef for the Youth Garden Project Sweet and Feed. A couple of weeks ago, we made a fantastic meal. They even said that they were incredibly impressed by the meal that we came up with.
Wow.
What did we made? A
Tomato.
cucumber, tomato, and onion, side salad, and a balsamic vinaigrette, a from scratch marinara spaghetti, and then for dessert was a roasted stone fruit sorbet.
Wow.
So who ate it or you?
A couple people.
It got canceled like last
Right, I
minute.
read about it, but
Yeah.
so we didn't throw that food out.
No, actually they were reusing the marinara for the base of their pizzas that they would be cooking for their youth guard or for the youth summer camps.
Yeah.
Same with the sorbet. And then me and this one took home like 8 containers of the side salad.
Oh, no.
It was
Brad.
I know, my mouth's watering right now. It
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah,
delicious.
it was amazing. I mean, a couple of people did show up, so we did serve them, and then we did the youth garden staff. So there wasn't any waste in that. So there was that. I was really excited. Attended the RCU board meeting last week, just squaring away the details for a retreat that is in September and also the fall conference that will be in November up in Sandy. I've been working heavily with the Mark and their artists in residence. One of them has actually, I believe, just finished up today and will begin putting everything together. And then the second one filmed a good portion of our cardboard billing process. And I believe they are doing weekly.
Tonight.
Yes, they're doing
6 to
weekly.
8.
Mhm.
I'm glad. I'm glad they got somewhere with them amongst us.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
they've been all throughout our operations. I believe they went out with you to Klondike.
They've had full access.
So
We
do
took them
do
to
we got
Klondike.
movies that we didn't have?
We're gonna have,
We will.
Oh,
we'll have
good.
little films.
Great.
They're gonna, Tom is doing the filming. One is moving pictures and one is still photography. Tom's gonna be following the trucks around on Friday and then he'll put it all together. But yeah, they've had full access. We've been trying to be as accommodating as possible.
Cool.
Yeah, so they'll be doing like, one's doing a mockumentary sort of deal. The other one is doing just a perception of waste within the community and then also showcasing what it actually looks like. So it's kind of just like giving an idea of what it is we do, but in artistic manner.
So what, is there footage about what the landfill looks like that we could give to children other than, we talked about taking the children to the landfill and let them see it, but if if that wouldn't happen, or if it'd be a lot easier, is there some kind of footage with some of that?
Yes, we are talking about going up to Moab and just filming
Keep that in
the
mind,
excavator.
just
Mhm.
to
Work
tell
in the
people
face.
what it,
Sure.
what it looks
That's,
What it
that's
looks-
good thinking,
in the
Diane.
future, in case we get this going.
Yeah.
you
And then very last thing is, next week, me and Mike will be heading up to Evanston, Wyoming. For the Wyoming Solid Waste and Recycling Association 2023 Annual Conference. It is a 3-day conference. We were actually encouraged by one of my fellow board members, or the RCU board members, who is the chair of this particular association, Bo Peck. He runs Interwest. Yes. And Pro Recycling. And he actually was the one that suggested we go to this because Evanston deals with a lot of similar issues.
Right.
Being a rural, high tourist density sort
Yep.
of number, and I was looking at the conference schedule, and a lot of the items that they will be talking about are very relevant to issues that we have here. But we'll also be touring their landfill, or both of their landfills. They have a closed landfill and an open landfill, the recycling center and their compost
Great.
center. And then on Friday, we'll be heading down to Salt Lake and we'll be doing a 3 facility tours, one of Interwest Paper, one of Liberty Tire Recycling, and then the third one is Springback, Utah, which is a mattress recycling group. So
know. What recycling?
mattress,
Oh, mattress.
yeah,
Excellent.
so
Mattress recycling.
a lot of learning and touring of facilities.
Excellent.
We'll get to see where our tires are gonna go and be processed, and I've been wanting to get up to Interwest anyway and see where our bales go,
Sure.
so,
And
Is
I'm
that in
gonna-
Salt Lake, or the Interwest?
yes.
And I'm trying, I haven't gotten a confirmation yet, of getting a tour after those 3 have ended, separate from the conference of the MRF. Of
The
the
MRF.
waste
Excellent.
management's MRF of the lake.
Excellent.
Is that Rocky Mountain?
I'm sorry,
What's the name of the waste management?
waste management's materials
waste
recovery
management.
facility, yeah.
And speaking of mattresses, because there are times here when we get lots and lots of mattresses.
We did. I've actually talked to the guys. I think we did that at the last fall
Yeah.
conference. We talked to the Springback guys and they were very interested in it. But the
Mhm.
thing is, we averaged out, it was like 20 to 25 per mattress to
just ship
to
it.
make the costs
Uh-huh.
to ship from here
Yeah.
up there. So you have to be able to guarantee a full van trailer of mattresses and people willing to pay $20 to $25 to do
Right,
it.
right.
I mean, it's a good program. When I lived up in Salt Lake, I used it
Mhm.
and they
Well,
do,
heck, I think my neighbor told me they paid at least 15 to put it up here in the ground. So,
well, I mean, that's where you get into the going into the public. Are you willing to pay $20 to $25 to get rid of any size mattress?
In excess of what we.
Yeah.
Have to pay. It's just the same situation. We had a lot of our commodities that we could probably do a better job with trying to get them processed or anything. It's just we're isolated down here and shipping just kills us.
Yeah.
You have to store them dry. Before you. ship
Yes,
them.
they want them in good condition because they tear them apart, they reuse the metal, so obviously you don't want it to be rusted out, you don't want bed bugs, you don't want stains. I have previously reached out to textile recycling because I know textile waste is a huge issue and almost every single one of them, they're like, we don't service anywhere near you. Nowhere near, like maybe the closest was Vegas and
Yeah.
transporting a truck that full of textiles just does not make sense.
but it seems like Wabi Sabi does that. Wabi Sabi does textiles. They recycle, they claim they do.
I don't know what Wabi Sabi does with their stuff.
I think
That
they
is,
do.
that
I
is
think
their
they do. Business.
So that's my stuff.
Very good.
Nothing about the US environmental, whatever.
I have not heard anything. As far as I know, we are still in the merit review,
Radio silence on that.
which is not surprising. I haven't seen, I checked our status just to verify that I hadn't missed anything on grants.gov and it's still in review. So I don't
No
know,
news is good news, right?
I
Yeah,
know, right,
I mean,
exactly.
eligible and going forward, but you know, we just have to,
What do we got in 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks like in this month? What was it?
They, summer was when they would announce summer
Summer. That
with
could be
a
October.
financial awarding by October.
Yeah.
So we've still got at least 2 months where they can technically make a decision.
Well, it'll be interesting to hear your reports on the Evanston landfills and stuff.
Yeah,
That'll be really.
Quite excited
Yeah,
about
that's very interesting.
that one. There's a lot of things that will be very useful to,
Yeah.
or it could be just some fresh ideas.
Exactly. Good.
Make sure you pay attention to their glass and what they're doing with their glass so we can take the video to the city.
We can see, but Evanston or Wyoming may have a deal where they don't allow for the transporting over state lines. I know Idaho, I believe, you can't transport certain things over state lines, and I believe recycling might be part of that.
We'll definitely update you what we can.
Okay, great, thank you. Board reports. Who has something to report?
Nothing other than just, compost, the compost, but the, shredded bark is very popular. Thank you very much. Keep it up.
And I'm still working with the HMK. They hire a great deal of their staff apparently 2 weeks before school starts. And so it's mayhem there. And I did not realize that. And so I didn't get up with that with Libby until the end of June. She took off for a month sabbatical. Back the 1st of August, and in 2 weeks their kids are there. So I wasted some time and I didn't realize, well, I couldn't get up with them.
Yeah.
So, I'm still working. But if we could get a movie that shows our hole in the ground up there, rather than taking the children out there, I would think that would be well worth our time with that Tom guy or whoever he is. So, yeah.
He's definitely willing to work with us. He's gonna do 2 versions, one that he gets done for the deadline for this project, and then he's gonna take it back and kind of polish it up a little bit.
Have the special effects.
He said he's a slow editor, so he wants to go back and redo it, so. And one is from Appalachian State in North Carolina, Tom is, and Renee is from Pepperdine in California, so. To Moab. What are the odds?
Happens all the time.
I don't have it.
Yeah, I don't have anything except thank you all for carrying on in my absence in July. And
Yes.
So that's the end of our agendas. We managed to fill an hour and a half without any business items, so.
And that's great. We have time to talk.
Yes, but now we reach the end, so I would entertain a motion for things.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. So moved. Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, staff. Thank you.
Six.
Staff.
Thank you all.
Good job.